Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Yak Gadget. For all your kayak fishing accessory needs, go to yakgadget.com. Pelican cases, coolers, and lighting. Go to pelican.com. The 153 Bait Company. For all your hard and soft bait needs, go to the153anglers.com. Now let's get this show started.
Boom, let's get this show started. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Chasing the Tide, your saltwater connection on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dustin, back with you for another segment here. Just give you a little recap of what's been going on the past few weeks. Old Salty went up north and fished one of the Northeast Texas Kayak Bass League's events. They kicked off their fall series on Lake Athens. I went up there, did a little pre-fishing in the evening, and threw a one-knocker spook all day and pulled off a second-place finish. So I was pretty stoked on that to get out of the saltwater here and go try to chase some bass and see if I can still catch them. And ended up getting pretty lucky. So, yeah, it's been going on. Been on the water, kind of scouting for a trout tournament coming up. We have some a few cold fronts here and there, but we definitely need some ones to stick around a little bit longer. It's that time of year, that transition. Water's cooling down, days are getting shorter. It's just some days after the fronts with the high pressure, just having to downsize baits a little bit has helped. But, there's been some fish moving. Like what I'm seeing, there's still some redfish in the marsh. So everybody get out there and catch some fish. We're going to go ahead and bring our guest on right now. I got somebody, Texas local here. I'm going to bring him on tonight. Michael Escamilla in the house tonight on Chasing the Tide. What's up, brother?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, man, just rolling. Pulled out the Christmas decorations and all that. Went to the movies today. Went with the family. Went and saw the Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's pretty dang good stuff, man.
My wife got you hanging Christmas lights, huh?
Oh, I'm not hanging Christmas lights. We just pulled out the tree and all the little gnomes and all. She's like, it's a gnome theme this year, like little Christmas gnome. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, my wife did the whole Grinch thing, man. She set up November 1st.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we got a Grinch blow up the other about a week back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that out and I'll put some stuff up. I don't hang no lights, man. I don't think
I'm not a fan of
that, man. I'm not a fan of the lights. I'm not a fan of the lights. Now, if I did do lights, it would just be the little single white ones, just the round, like the old school ball lights that go around the roof line. I think that looks pretty cool.
It was nice and clean, yeah.
I don't want no Griswold funk, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, man. Yeah, but thanks for coming on the show, man. We'll start out. Just give everybody a little backstory, introduce yourself, tell everybody where you're from and, fishing history and kind of what led you into that plastic boat.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I started off pretty much just like everybody did, back creek fishing, going down to the coast with the family, heading on the pier.
Yep.
I grew up about 20 feet from a little creek, and I would catch grasshoppers out in the field. My grandfather was a farmer, so we'd have crickets and grasshoppers, and I'd get a little jar full of them, man, and head to the creek and just hang out there pretty much all day and put it on a bobber and watch little channels come through, and that's how it started. And man, I've been here pretty much Texas just about my whole life, about 33 out of the 35 years I've been alive, and just enjoy fishing in general. It started as a kid, and it was just a little hobby. And
that addiction run starts early, though, man.
It starts early, man. It kind of petered out when I went to college and focused on other stuff in school and cars, all that stuff. And now that I'm getting older, getting slower, man, it's more of a passion, put it that way.
True that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Same here.
Same, man. And man, I honestly, it wasn't very big, on the majority of my family, but my dad kind of put me on it. It was more of a pastime, like a bonding time, you know what I mean? Our family didn't really do it, but my dad, he didn't know much about it. So, we go out there to Academy, Walmart, buy the leaders, all the other cheap stuff. And, the one-time stuff you take out there and it just gets put in the closet, for 6-7 months. But it was always there. It wasn't a big part, but it was always there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Then what spurred your interest to jump in a kayak? When did that come about?
there was this one time here fishing at the lakes. I'd been bank fishing, numerous times, 10, 15 times, probably caught one fish. And all these guys in kayaks coming in with stringers full and boats, coming in with ice chests full. I
Yeah,
just got tired of it. Just
yeah,
got tired of just sitting and watching. And it was like, I got to get on the water somehow, by any means necessary. And it was, I didn't have a huge budget, 400 or 500 bucks. And next thing you know, cruising online, Craigslist, and picked up my first ocean kayak, man. Ocean kayak Prowler 13, and that was
there
it.
you go.
It
Yep.
was all
It
downhill
was
after
on
that,
then,
man.
like new
Yeah,
areas
man.
open up, you can get further. I mean, you got
Oh
a
man.
paddle and expend a little energy, but it was sure
Yeah,
better than being stuck on that bank.
exactly, man. It was just a whole different world opened up. Just sitting on the bank
True.
compared to being on the kayak. You're your own person. You can go wherever you want. You can be out there for however long you want. And then it's just being that close to the water. It's different. It's a
Yeah.
lot different.
Oh
You're
yeah,
more.
it's awesome.
You're more personal with the water. You can see and feel different things. You know what I mean? It's just it's a different experience, and that's how it all started. It was just that cheap little used kayak, and it's been a roller coaster ever since.
Now, when was that? How long ago was that?
Man, you're talking probably 8 years ago,
Eight,
7 or 8 years ago. I
nine.
had a lot of one good buddy of mine, On Lee. He had been enticing me into getting into kayaks, and
Mhm.
he'd post these big pictures of kingfish he would catch, and snapper
Yep.
off the kayak, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta get one, you gotta get one, you gotta get one." So he was kind of my go-to man,
Yeah.
my door, and
Yeah.
I'd send him pictures of this kayak, send him pictures of that kayak, and he was like, "No, you're not gonna make it out there. You'll make it, but it won't be fun."
Yeah. It won't be
And
fun, right?
and uh, and it was just that. It just steamrolled from
Just
that
steamroll from there.
ocean
Yep.
prowler, the vibe, and man, next thing you know, I was like, I see these Hobie guys or these pedal drive guys going,
Mhm.
miles,
Yeah.
miles, and coming out with bigger fish and more fish, and I'm like, yeah, all right, let's open that door, let's invest, and I picked up an 18 Outback, and it was mile. I just opened up another world,
Oh
going
yeah.
further, less effort, more efficient,
Hands free
it.
fishing. Yep.
Oh yeah, man. It was, and then again, just downhill after that. It was just one door opened up, and next thing you know, and here I am.
Yeah, and it's crazy. When you first get into it, you're like you can be overwhelmed with everything, and you're like,
Oh
man, where
yeah.
do I put all this stuff and this and that? But dude, if
Hey,
newbies out there, just there's an accessory for everything now. Just about. I
everything,
mean, everything being thought of. I mean, and that's
man.
the key about is having everything organized. Is like
Yeah,
key to me.
I
That's
would
key to
take
me.
I would take a full tackle bag with
Oh yeah.
me. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. No crate, no nothing, no rod holders. And it was just one rod and a whole giant tackle bag in the back. And I would probably use like 3 or 4 lures, and that was it.
I still take a tack hold. Yeah, you ought to see when
Yeah.
I'm bass fishing, man. It's like, whoo. I mean, but
Yeah.
even in like if I'm gonna go say like target trout,
Mhm.
like this time of year, I'll have a small little Plano box with 4 or 5 corkies and some soft tines, and I'll have
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
some jig heads, and then I'll have like the money bag that the Bass Mafia sells, Tackle Warehouse sells. I'll have
Okay.
that with my plastics and some extra
Yeah,
jig
yeah.
heads and maybe my leader in there. And then it's
Uh-huh.
waterproof, so I can throw my phone and my keys in there and it fits in the crate.
Yeah, yeah.
And I might have a backup box with some top waters and this and that, depending on water tip and all that. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I still pack a good bit of tackle. It's just it's that bass fishing
Yeah, that's a
in
whole
me
nother
that
world, man.
yeah.
Those guys take like 12,
I
15,
take
16
10,
rods.
11 rods, 10
Woo!
or 11 rods
Yeah,
normally. But
that's
I like,
crazy.
I'm saltwater side too, though. I'll find myself sometimes with 5 rods. I'll
Yeah,
have a
yeah, of
top
course.
water, I have a corky, I have like a double D on
Yeah,
there. I'll have a big swim bait or glide bait plastic,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
maybe a popping cork at times.
Always ready to go.
Always ready to go.
Yeah.
Adapt to what they're gonna eat.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
man.
but
That's
yeah,
it.
it. It's crazy to think, man. I get people ask me all the time, why you got on them rods? And them guys in the boats. I said, man, so I don't have to retie and
Yeah,
kill my time, especially during the tournament. I don't want to have to
yeah.
stop
Or if the
and
bite's hot.
retie and do stuff. Saying,
Yeah. If that
nah,
bite's
man,
hot, it could shut off at any second, man. So you got to be ready for whatever's out there.
Yep, sure do. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, I know, kayak fishing, been pretty important to you. Wanted you to see to share with your guests, you had an accident, and I wanted everybody to hear, about your, the rehabilitation and stuff and that.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel free to, if you're okay with sharing that with
Yeah,
the
of course,
man,
of course.
would like to let them hear your story and everything. I think it's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, man. So it'll be 4 years this February. Had a little kickback, with some buddies, bonfire, barbecuing, and I went to relight the fire. Dumb mistake with gasoline, and the actual fumes around the gas tank backdropped it into the little gas tank I was using, and it blew up.
Oh,
And that was pretty much one of the last memories I remember of that night. And I woke up 2 weeks later at BAMC in the ICU, and I spent 52 days in BAMC with about 40% of third-degree burns over my body, my arms, or hands, stomach, legs, and yeah, man, it was actually the rehab process. The people in that rehab that kind of sparked kayak. I hadn't just got into it. I was beginning to get into it, but it was them that kind of just boosted that interest. It was during the rehab process. They try to find things that you were doing in your previous before your accidents, and I told them that I was just getting into heavy kayak fishing. And at that point in time, we were just getting mobility back in my arms, my hands, and they're asking me, well, what do you do when you go kayak fishing? It's like, well, the majority of the time I'm lifting this 50, 60-pound kayak off the ground into the bed of the truck, or lifting it over the head and putting it on top of the rack. And I was like, all right, well, let's start, manipulating some of the stuff that we have in the rehab at our BAMC. So they had me, deadlifting, 20, 30 pounds, and carrying buckets with weights in them, and, getting my balance back on a balance ball. And then as I progressed, they were like, all right, well, we're going to need you to start taking this stuff home. We're going to need you to start
mhm.
doing these things by yourself, away from us. And it was that inspiration, that fire is like, if I could do it here in rehab, I could definitely do this at home.
Yeah,
And gaining my independence back is what it was really was. It was going from my wife taking care of me, like a baby, like a grown baby,
yeah,
brushing my teeth, feeding me, cutting my hair, my nails, and then slowly gaining my independence back. It was more so, let me do this to prove to myself that this is just a speed bump, that I can overcome this. And that's what it was. I would go outside and lift my kayak, or I would, see if I could, put it on the bed of my truck or unload it, getting my rods together. And it came down to where I needed to learn how to retie leaders, or retie loop knots, or change out lures. It was the basic stuff that we take for granted, stuff that comes second nature when you're on the water, like reaching
right,
back for a rod, or,
yeah.
just basic stuff that people don't even think about. It was those things that I had to
What
relearn.
you gotta say with third-degree burns, you had to have some skin grafts and stuff, and
Yeah, man.
things like that, and your
They took.
mobility might have changed from the way the skin stretched and healed and
Yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, you relearning everything. And it was, and then being out there, having that independence, kind of, it was something I didn't want to let go. And I
right.
just completely involved myself in it, to where this is my happy place. Everyone has their zen place,
Yeah,
their time away, or that was my, and it still is, and it'll be
yeah.
there till the day that I die. That's where I can go, and nothing else going on in the world. This is my zone. This is my area. This is
Yeah,
where everything disappears, and I can just focus on this one thing.
it's true decompression time for sure,
Oh,
especially when
big time.
you. There's a lot of times in the marsh that you're by yourself. There's a
And it
lot of
is
areas you can
spooky.
go and find stuff by yourself, or when you're fishing at night under the full moon.
Yeah.
There's areas you can go and you'll be by yourself. And
Yeah,
it's just in times like that where you can reflect and
Oh man, they
really
say
true get into some deep thoughts out there sometimes.
yeah, man. I see there's a couple I see it every once in a while on Facebook or on Instagram is that a lot of fishermen don't go fishing for fish, they'll go fishing to find themselves and finding, a higher power and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it was that. It was if I can go through what I went through, what else can I overcome?
Yep.
How much further can I take this? You know what I mean?
True. Oh yeah, right on, man. Thanks for sharing all that, man.
Yeah, of
I
course.
was, just to come back from that and have drive and and then aid in the recovery and stuff is pretty cool,
Definitely,
for
man.
sure. Yeah. So moving into this little list I got, sometimes I'll take the time and try to get an outline and everything. That's why you see me kind of glance down at everything and
Yeah,
squint.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
take my glasses off, because I get a glare and it's like
Man,
see a
if
glare.
we didn't have a list, we could probably ramble on about whatever for
Oh, I
hours. You
know
know
we
what
probably didn't even need a list, but
I
I try to keep
mean?
it a little bit structured on this
Yeah, no, I
Chasing the
got you.
Tide. Kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
keep me rolling. I'll throw some stuff off the hip every now and then, though.
Yeah,
I'll
I
cut
got
up
you.
some too.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, man. So you coming back after the injury and everything? I mean, you still had to have a few surgeries here and there.
Yeah. So I had the accident, really started messing with my hands as far as
Mhm.
the skin getting tight.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty sure you could see it. These little skin grafts right here
yeah,
and on my thumb and like right here too. So they had to split open some of my skin and put a full thickness graft to get to where my hands could come back and getting kind of like a push-up position.
yeah,
Because when I came out, I looked like I was I was
yeah,
getting at somebody. So
yeah.
just because of the skin was just so tight, in these
Right.
areas. So yeah, so it was about a year and a half of surgeries after the accident
Yeah.
that I had to go back. So that kind of kept me out. It was funny. The day that I got hurt was 2 years to the date of when I went back to work. So
Wow.
it was a year and a half process, and then like 6 months of being independent before I was able to go back and be efficient at
Man.
being a mechanic again. Put
Yeah.
it that way. So yeah, man, it was. I mean, I met so many awesome people, in the kayak community that I probably would have never met had I not been
Yeah.
part of the kayak community.
That's
You know, I'm,
crazy.
ta- I'm
Yeah.
talking from Houston to Rockport to the 956 area down in the valley.
Yeah. There's a big old group of all of us that through Facebook groups and all that we kind of keep up and
Oh
eventually
yeah,
run to each other on the water quite
yeah,
frequently. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, look how I mean, just I wanted to get your viewpoint of what you've seen as far as San Antonio area, um, the growth that
Yeah,
you've seen. I see a lot of San Antonio guys um, in some of the offshore events too. It seems like there was a good surge of a lot of guys driving down to fish offshore from San
hmm
Antonio also, which is pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, it's from what I've seen in the past just 3 or 4 years, it's gone from an interest, and then of course COVID hit, so people were anxious to get out on the water, get out of the house, and
Yeah.
what better way to get somewhere by yourself than on a kayak?
Yeah.
You're definitely out on the water, away from everybody, and that kind of just sparked it over here in San Antonio. People, looking to get on the lakes, get on the rivers, or just to get out of the house, period.
True.
And it was just the last 2 years alone has gone from people just talking about it, in small groups to where you got groups from all over Texas, meeting up and having meet and greets and
Yep.
people traveling from Houston to come fish, Corpus waters or, Austin coming down to Corpus or hell, even us going down to the valley,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's fun. It's fun to meet these people that share these same passions with you, these same
Yep.
interests. And because you end up at the kayak launch or end up, getting back into the truck and you end up spending more time at the kayak launch, chopping it up versus being
Yep.
on the water. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I've met people from all over, Texas, just new to it, and it's gone from people just being in these, everyday kayaks to, complete strangers being in these $5,000 motorized, completely just, it's been an explosion, put it that way. And it's
Yeah.
good to see. It's good to see because it grows a community a lot stronger and a lot bigger, in case you do get in a bind or if you need advice. A lot of people, I've known a lot more kayak guys to be more informative and more helpful than not dogging on the bank guys or the boat guys, but kayakers have a different edge to them as far as being helpful, put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Definitely. So offshore, have you've gotten to enjoy some of that over the years.
Yeah, yeah, man.
What's your favorite fish to go out there and target when you get a chance?
Man,
Are
when
you,
I go ahead.
the beach launches is cool because, if some people might be listening elsewhere in Texas, there's a lot of beach access we
Mhm,
have in vehicles. So that's what you can cool here is that you can drive and kind of pick
mhm.
your launch point and kind of set it up due to wind and current and all that. So
Yeah,
give us
yeah,
a rundown
man.
of that, some of your memorable trips and catches on offshore.
So what I wanted to go out and catch were kingfish. You're seeing these guys hold up these giant, giant
Mhm.
fish, off a kayak,
Yep.
tie 6 miles offshore, and that's what it enticed me to get a pedal drive. I wanted to get out there and catch a big old kingfish. And it's surf launching, it's crazy. It can get gnarly at times,
Oh yeah.
and you really you gotta go out there with a friend or somebody that's been out
Yeah.
there before.
Yeah. You
And
definitely don't want to solo offshore fishing for
oh
sure.
yeah, for sure. And
You want
and
to have
we're
a group.
lucky,
A group is
and
good.
yeah, and we're lucky here in Texas, to where we can drive on those beaches.
Yeah.
Out in Florida, you gotta either drag your kayak over the dunes or if
From
some
the
of those,
parking lot. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
or through the parking lot, man.
It's that soft white sand over there that's pretty dang
Yeah,
crazy. If you don't have the
yeah,
balloon
yeah.
tires, you are hurting.
Yeah, but we're fortunate enough to where we can still drive on the beaches for now. But yeah, it was it's the learning curve getting through those breakers. It isn't too
Yep.
bad, getting out there and trolling for kingfish, and that's what really wanted me to get out there. And it's fun, man. That initial kingfish run is
Oh
like
yeah.
nothing
It's
out there.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
it'll dead stop
Screaming.
you in the middle of the ocean. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Super cool.
And
When you get them fish like that, man.
yeah, for sure. But that kingfish kind of vibe kind of died out, and it was more
Yeah.
so let's get into like some snapper or some other pelagic,
Yeah.
some Jack Crevalles, stuff like that. And
Cobia, lean,
cobia,
they
man.
like to hang out around structure too.
I
We're
haven't
great. We
I
have near shore standpipes and some of the short rigs near shore within 2 or 3 miles that we can get to in a kayak, and
yeah.
that's some pretty cool options we have. But at times some kingfish will move in, super super close,
hmm
around the
Man, I've even
jetties
seen
and
people
passes.
catch them off the beach too.
Yeah, off the beach also. Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, man. So that was really that was the inspiration to get out there, just catch a big old kingfish. And that reentry, man, that'll really make you make kind of man up when
yeah.
when you're coming in that way. So
Yeah, it's always good to stow your rods and pull your
mhm,
lures off if you can.
yeah, yeah.
Don't get no hooks
I'm
in you if you
no
get flipped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
by no means I'm not a professional at it, but I've learned
yeah,
some tips and tricks, and how to not lose so much gear. Put it that way.
yeah. You learn how to read the water.
Yeah,
Me growing up surfing and learning and knowing where to paddle out and use the rips to my advantage,
yeah,
and then looking for where the waves are breaking and where they're not breaking and how to break that down and kind of
yeah,
weave your way through everything. It definitely helped me from
yeah,
being a surfer.
yeah,
My
yeah.
life, it's definitely helped me understand the waves, and I'm respectful of the water and the power of the ocean
You
for sure.
have to be, man.
You have to
It'll
be.
humble you
It'll
real
humble you
quick,
really
real
quick,
quick.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But
Oh,
right now it's mainly trying to get out there and when you get into jig fishing, like
yep.
vertical jigging,
Vertical
slow
jigging, slow
pitching.
pitch. Yep.
Yeah, man, it's kind of blown up here in Texas lately. A lot of
It's a
the
big thing in Florida, and that slow pitching is finally coming on over here. Right
yeah,
rod, right equipment, and it's downright deadly when
it's more
presented
it's
right.
it's
Yeah.
more of a technical thing than it is
Hmm.
just to going out there and just ripping a bait. So
Yep.
I think that's more of the the interest of what I like to personally do is
Yeah.
go out there and pick apart, a certain area with a certain lure or a certain condition, and that's kind of piqued my. I've dipped too much money into the slow pitch stuff right now.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it can
it-
be downright expensive.
oh yeah, yeah,
But the key to that is definitely having a great sonar fish finder and understanding how structure and stuff looks too
yep,
on the
yep.
bottom. If anybody's listening that's curious,
That's a
um,
learning curve too, man. Just
that's a
reading a
big
fish
learning
finder in
curve.
general.
Oh my
That's
gosh, yeah.
There's so much technology coming out nowadays with that stuff, live scan and bottom view and down scan and it's that's a whole nother box of worms, man.
It is. You can
It's
open up
crazy.
Pandora's box big time. All
Yeah,
that
yeah.
crazy stuff, 360, the true view, true vision, live scan, pan optics, and all that stuff. It's just
Man, I got a
crazy.
buddy that just picked up the Lawrence live
Hmm.
view or something like that,
Yeah.
and he took it out to the flats about a month and a half ago, and we could see pinfish coming in and out of the pockets.
Hmm.
About 15, 20 yards from us. And you could see these little pinfish cruising along, stopping in the pockets, and then cruising along some more. It was the craziest thing. I mean, 4 foot of water, three,
Yeah.
4 foot of water. And we're seeing redfish ambush these pinfish. It was nuts. It was,
Think about using that in for white bass in the
oh,
holes when they spawn,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
brush piles with the bass or deep structure
Yeah.
for snook or big trout or big
Oh,
redfish
man.
on structure. It's
I
pretty
told
cool
him, I told him, you're coming along with me on a scouting trip. I need to figure that thing out.
to figure it out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Where the technology is going, especially with the ways companies are starting to adapt and make mounts that work with kayaks.
Yeah.
There's a few companies out there that have opened up that door, to be able to mount those to kayaks. I know there's quite a few of the uh, trails out there that the guys are on. There's some people out there already using that live scope and 360
Oh,
view and all
really?
that
No
on kayak.
kidding.
Yeah, there's quite a few guys already out there. Yeah,
Man, that's deadly. If you know how
especially
to, if
bass tournament. I mean, it can definitely try to make you put all your eggs in one basket and just
mhm.
use that. But I mean, I'm not going to depend solely on that. I wouldn't.
Gotcha.
I'd definitely mix it up a little bit
I
for
mean,
sure.
put it this way, it's another tool to put in your toolbox. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, another tool in the arsenal, which
Yeah,
doesn't hurt.
exactly.
Doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
hurt.
man.
I mean,
Shoot, man.
just like these motors, these kayak motors,
Oh yeah.
that opens up another 15 miles, another 10 miles to your journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. I'm stoked to see some of the saltwater trails starting to get on
Hmm.
board and allow motors, all that good stuff, because
Yeah.
that's a major factor. It's just another tool of the trade.
Another
It
tool,
helps with
man.
range. It helps with you know not being as fatigued.
Yeah.
Just like everything else
Oh,
that's
yeah.
out that the technology helps with. Really light rods, really light reels.
Yeah.
The way I see it, the more time I have to keep that lure in the water, the better chances of having a fish eat
Exactly.
it.
Yep. Yep.
So fatigue from casting is a big factor to me too.
Mhm.
I like my gear light, and I can
I,
cast all
I
day.
I've seen you cast. I mean, 10 times in 60 seconds. Yeah. I mean,
Put it
quit,
right where they
quit,
need to
quit,
be.
quit, quit,
Put it
quit.
where it needs
Yeah.
to be.
I've
Yeah,
seen you burn that reel all day long before, man.
yeah, I can do that.
It's crazy, and you'd be surprised on how sore you can get the next day
Oh
after
yeah, oh yeah.
hardcore fishing like that.
It'll catch up to you on the multi-day tournaments, especially working at the top water all day.
Oh, dude, yeah, yeah, I hear you
Oh
now.
dang, that'll get you,
Yeah,
man. So we'll get into this time of year, man. It's just this transition time. Like I said, the days are getting shorter. The water's cooling off,
yeah,
and fish are gonna start fattening up for the winter and all that. And then
big time.
it's time for me to start switching gears and chasing some trout, trying to
Yeah,
trying to trying to get that dirty 30.
yeah, man. Everyone's trying to get in that group, man. It's a coveted group. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Especially from a kayak. Put it that way. A
yeah,
boat can burn spots here and there, but creeping up on big old healthy mama, man. That
Yeah.
takes a little bit of talent to do that.
We got some stealth to our advantage being in that kayak, but then again, it's right place, right time.
Oh
That
yeah,
fish could have been there, but it's not time for
not
it to
hungry.
feed. Yeah.
Yeah,
It all comes down to that wind,
yeah.
tide, moon phase, conditions, lure
Hmm.
presentation, all that
And you
good
got
stuff.
and you got to understand that fish is old. So
Oh
that
yeah,
fish
that's
has
smart.
seen some changes. It has seen some, it's seen just about everything. So she can be picky,
Yeah,
and she has every right to be for being,
yeah.
over 30 and fat and healthy. You know what I mean? So getting that fish to eat what you're presenting to them,
Hmm.
that's an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
But
But
yeah,
being
this
stealthy is a key, and then and lower light conditions at times. I definitely
yeah,
like that. There's less,
yeah,
the other big boats aren't running around
yeah,
in the middle of the day or mid morning and all that. There's not a lot of boat traffic and all that, and fish
pressure.
might have pulled back up on that flat, to
Yeah,
feed,
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
that super early, right before sunrise or just
yeah,
after sunset, or in the middle of the night on the full moon,
yeah.
less boat traffic. If you got areas you can hit, man, that's just heightens some chances right there, man.
Oh yeah. I, I
For
I
sure.
like this. I like this time of year because there seems to be a little less kayak traffic because it's cold. The
Yeah.
water is damn near freezing.
Hmm.
And you're talking launching at dark, getting a
Hmm.
little bit of water on you, and it'll
Yep.
freeze you to death. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, so this transition time, but when this winter time comes around, it's one of not my absolute favorite, but with these big trout,
Yeah.
and these cool mornings, it's a fun time to be out in the water.
It
You know,
is.
I,
And a
I
lot of
mean,
time when it's cold, the boaters get a later start too.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
if it's
yeah.
rainy and drizzly, some of them might even go out. But
They won't
I'm
even go out.
I'm all over it.
Yeah.
I have rain gear that's been, I got that wash in
Uh,
treatment, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
you invest in a good sim, like the Gore-Tex stuff is really good
Uh-huh.
for being water repellent and all that. Just
Yeah,
it sucks when it's cold and you get wet. That's what
yeah,
sucks. If
yeah.
it's cold and you can stay dry and have layers to
It's
shed, if
not
it
too
does
bad.
warm
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
that's all good. I'm all down for that. I'll be
yeah.
all over that.
But when you get that pissed off trout, splashing all over you,
Yeah.
it's a different story.
Oh man, there's times when you'll be fighting them. They just come up and just rake them gills and shatter,
Hmm.
just rattle them and shatter that water everywhere. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
sunglasses got salt water all over them now. And just like, God, can you see?
I
I
re-
lost a good one the other night. That
oh really?
it was about 2:30 in the morning, and had a good fish already. Had one, and I had a really good thump, and it topped over my corky, and I don't know how. It's just unbelievable how those fish can strike a lure so fast, and then taco it, and then not get a hook in their mouth. It's just like
Exactly.
crazy how quick they're just so ferocious sometimes. And then
Man,
the
that
thump, you
thump.
feel it. But I had that.
Yep.
I hooked the next one. I thought I had good hooks in it, but it only
Yeah.
when I saw it, I didn't have my net. I had left my net at home, and
Uh-huh.
my headlamp was kind of acting up, but I could see the fish come up beside the kayak, and the water's pretty clear where I was at,
Yeah.
and it was just like, and then that lure just
Man.
ping, it's like,
Later.
and it was definitely pushing upper 20s. It was definitely a big fish,
Yeah, yeah.
not over 30, but it was up there.
I tell you what, man, that thump is something else.
Oh
Those
yeah,
are some aggressive fish. There's nothing like that big thump when you get it like an over 25,
oh
and
yeah,
she'll hit it like it's a freight train, and you'll know you got a good one on.
oh yeah. They'll pull drag when they're 24 or bigger.
Yeah,
It's a totally different category
yeah,
of fight than
yeah.
a 18, 20-inch, 21-inch trout.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's they're a totally different class of fish.
Hmm.
You know,
Man, I mean, I've only caught my biggest one is like 26 and a half, but I've caught
Mhm.
a bunch of 25s and I've caught a
Yeah,
bunch of 20s. And that 20 to 25 range, man, they're pissed off every time
yeah,
they get a hook in them, man. They are mad. You know what I mean?
yeah. I love trout. I'm obsessed with them.
Mm.
I'll drop everything to fish and go trout fishing,
Yeah.
especially this time of year.
Oh yeah.
I'm sacrificing sleep. Come straight off a come straight off a night shifts in the morning
Yeah.
and go straight to lunch,
Straight to the water.
or get up at at 1 and go fish 2-3 hours before work.
Before work, yeah.
That's how mad.
Yeah.
That's how mad I can get at them when those big ones are pushed in and feeding and the conditions set up right. I'm not going to miss. The conditions are set up right. I'm not going to miss it.
Sometimes not when you
on
can
the water, dude.
Yeah. You got to fish when you can. Put it that way.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Well, cool. While we're talking about trout, I usually do a little segment called Pick 3, which is you pick you share with everybody what you would have with you to target, say, speckled trout.
Yeah.
Rod, reel, setup, line, lure.
Okay, cool.
Everybody run down the 3 setups you'd have with you, if you don't mind.
Man, my first setup would definitely be a baitcaster. 7 foot, 30-pound braid. Probably 20-pound mono. I haven't done fluoro, but 20-pound mono, and a topwater. Spook Junior Bone. Man, that's my confident topwater. I love that thing. If the conditions are right, I would throw it all day, like you were talking about earlier. Throw it all day. There's something about that blow up, man. That topwater blow up.
Oh yeah,
it's like nothing else.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I've had some pretty good trout on some topwater, and but that'd be number one. Number two would definitely be a spinning setup, like a 2500 and a 7-foot rod, 10-pound. I recently got into 10-pound braid, only because I can cast that thing a mile.
Oh yeah.
And 15-pound mono, same thing. And I would have a jerk bait on that one for sure. No, I would have a paddle tail. AM, I love the AM lures, man. Those things stink like a mother, but they work.
Oh yeah, they straight garlic. Smell like you've been in Olive Garden, like bathing in their dipping sauce or something.
Yeah, man. And I like that they came out with I think it was a 5 or 6
Magnum.
inch.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah, the big one. I love that one. On a big old weightless, hook, throwing it on top of some oyster or something, man. That's definitely a go-to for mine. And a third would be probably another baitcaster. Baitcaster on 7-foot rod, same thing, 30-pound braid. And I like throwing jerk baits. I really got into throwing a lot of big jerk baits. Opalas, like the whatever like the 5 or 6 inch long.
Vision 110, Mega Bass makes some good ones. I was going to give a shout out to Jeff Brown out of Florida. If nobody, look him up on Facebook. He's from the Pensacola area. Okay. He does custom painted jerk baits, and I just got a couple from him, the 110 size, and they're painted like a speckled trout, baby speckled trout.
Exactly.
And I've done really well on those, and I've done well on some of his croaker imitation, his IU print, IU color schemes. Just they're real iridescent purple. Yeah, those look great. But he's done some really cool baits for me. But I was stoked to hear you say jerk bait, because there's not a lot of people in Texas that use that tactic.
It's like, if they're not hungry, you entice them with that rip and wait.
Pause.
Boom.
Especially the ones that suspend and don't float back to the surface.
Exactly.
Spinning jerk bait is kind of like a Catch 2000. It's a lip. It's a twitch bait that does the same thing. It kind of pauses and suspends. The jerk baits, I use them a lot on the bass side. When the water's starting to get around 68, 65, 60. And cooler. There's just something about that, the way that bait presents itself, like just a moving bait fish. It kind of darts when you twitch it with slacking the line. It kind of darts from different directions too. It kind of gives a vision of an injured bait fish, and it really, if you can downsize. I know Matrix makes a pretty good one. Matrix baits makes a little smaller one that swims really well. I've had great success on those. Some of the ones that only run 2 foot on the flats over the sand pockets, and then I have some great ones around the deeper shell and pylons and structures too. Like, that's one of my favorite baits to throw, dude. I love throwing those.
Yeah, definitely. Even it's that pause. That pause is what I get the most strikes on. That pause. It's that rip, stop, and
it's
it's
a thump too, just like a corky thump. When you pause, like, just like that. They hit it like a freight train. Rip the rod out your hand.
Your hand. Exactly.
Sure enough, they sure will. If you're not expecting it, they'll sneak up on you.
I've got some good corkies, man. But that's a patient game for me. And you gotta be dedicated to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other night I had them. I was probably in about 2 foot of water, flat. The grass is kind of backed off. It was pretty clear. And I was working at Corky the same cadence, like a real fast twitch, like I would a top water.
Okay.
In the upper water column. It wasn't a floater, but I was keeping it in the upper water column, and they were just straight crushing it like that. I was basically twitching as fast as I could reel it in.
Really?
Like burning it and twitching it, and they were freaking straight killing it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many ways to put a corky out there, man. It's all depends on like just know what the fish want, man. Sometimes they want that thing slow and just a twitch here and there, or a slow pull and reel, or just flutters real slow. But that night, dude, they was straight crushing moonlight crushing it. That Bay Mistress custom corky, Texas Custom Lures, custom corky, Bay Mistress.
Nice,
they was straight smashing.
I gotta give those corkies a shot this winter, man. See if I can get that bite down.
Yeah, they also make that double D. It almost looks like a soft tine.
Okay.
But it swims really well with just reeling it. You just reel it down, it'll swim about 1.5 foot down. So it works really good over submerged shell that's only 2 foot deep or so, 3 foot deep. You just burn it and pause, burn it, pause, burn and pause, burn and pause, and then throw some twitches in there. It kind of gets erratic, but it swims pretty good just reeling it in. Jay Watkins offers a lot of good tips on those. That guy's just a flat out legend. In the Texas big trout scene, just fishing in general, guiding and everything on the boat side. But he always shares some great stuff on his Instagram, and man, those lures are straight fire, man. I've used them for finicky redfish in the marsh, and they that pause, they just go, because it suspends too. It doesn't quite float up real fast. So when you burn it real fast and pause it right in front of them, it's just sitting there, and it's just like that redfish is like, ooh,
what is it? Yeah.
And they got a really cool flash. They got a bone one with gold size. It's just fire in the marsh.
Okay.
Oh man, they look so good when they.
Man, I already got so much tackle. I might just add some more to it.
It'd be like a tackle score in my garage. My wife, oh yeah. She don't have any room. I got one whole side. Can't even put a car in there. It's a kayak trailer full of kayaks and a whole wall of crap.
Lures, right?
Man. So yeah, San Antonio, man. What's up with them Twin Lakes, man? We got anybody doesn't know, which a lot of people in Texas do know, we got redfish in the freshwater.
Yeah, man. A lot of people still freak out, especially how big those fish can get, man.
Oh yeah, there's some brutes in there.
There are some pigs in there, seriously, and they're a whole different version of redfish. They're a whole different category redfish. They look the same, but I'm talking these fish have 40 feet to dive into and to hang on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you pull them up, when they're really schooled up, these I've caught a 26-inch, I think it was 10 pound redfish.
Oh yeah.
And he looked like he swallowed a football. That's how fat he was. Yeah. And man, we're lucky to have him here in San Antonio. They definitely did right by putting those fish in, to bring more people out there. And I think they stock like 750,000 between the two lakes, if I'm not mistaken. They do it yearly. And
they got a stocking program year round. They can't breed, so that's why they're continuously stocking. In the fresh water, they cannot breed, but all they do is eat and eat.
Eat and swim, man. Eat and swim. Yeah, for sure. And right now they're going for catfish, but you can still get a lot of reds. There's it's obviously man-made lake, and it's power. And
they're power plant lakes too, so the water does stay warm. Yep.
So they use the lake as a giant radiator.
They're growing all year. Yeah, they're growing all year.
So you can catch them around the warmer areas of the lake, and where they're schooled up, and they're still gorging on shad and tilapia and stuff like that, and they're fun, man. If you're trolling 2 rods at a time and you run through a big old school, you're definitely gonna double up, and that's chaos. And when it's pretty cool.
Yeah, trolling around, rattle traps, crankbaits. Then you get on top of a school, you can pitch a flutter spoon down to them and all that. I got to experience it for the first time. A few months back at the Fanatic tournament there. Caught my first few freshwater redfish. It was pretty fun. I didn't get only big ones, but it's still fun because,
Yeah,
like you said, there's water. You're in 20, 30, 40 foot of water, and those redfish, when you hook them deep, fight way different than a redfish on a flat.
Big time. They'll just
they
pull
got
and
power and
pull.
dig. Yep. Oh yeah, it's pretty dang cool. It's pretty neat experience.
Man, when you're in the marsh, they're 2 foot of water, and they're running away from you, but they get tired.
Yeah.
I mean, these fish, when you get hooked into them, they got so much room. And I like catching them on light tackle, 2500s, 2000 size reels,
that's me.
It's fun. You know what I mean? And if you get a big one that's over 35 inches, you're going to be fighting for a while.
Yeah.
For a good
Because
while.
I had one that was like 22 inches. I was like, man, this might be a good one. I might be in the money. And I pull it up. It's like a 4.5 pound fish, which is big for a 22-inch fish. But it's like, man, I thought it was
a monster.
Way bigger than that. He was fighting. Oh my gosh. It was pretty dang cool. But you also guide up there, huh?
Yeah, I do. So I've been taking out a family and friends, for years, past 4 or 5 years, and and my wife was like, why don't you get your guide license? Let's why don't you start, making it official? And I did. I took the class actually with Rudy Anda. He's the other kayak guide out there too. We went up to Houston and did the class, got our CPR certs, did our boater's ed. It was probably like a 3-week process, and got my guide license. Got the trailer with a double-decker trailer on now, and was fortunate enough to win a tournament and got another kayak, and that put me in a good position to where I could take bigger groups of 3, and it's been fun. The summer was great, man. The summer, I mean, it was, if not every other day, definitely on the weekends I was booked, and being able to take those people out there and have them enjoy what I love doing was payment in itself, put it that way.
Share that and aiding people learning more, tips, techniques, and everything.
And it was fun. And I'm talking, people that has fished before but never fished for redfish. And I had people that have never even been on a kayak before. And it was always those people who had never been on a kayak, that have never fished, that always caught the most.
Oh yeah.
Or the biggest.
Yep.
But
share with everybody the name of your guys?
It's the same thing, Third Degree Fishing.
Third Degree Fishing. Yeah, y'all follow this right there. You follow Mike along on Instagram, third_degree_fishing.
Yeah, man. Third Degree Fishing Guide Service, kayak guide service, I guess you can call it.
You have a Facebook page for that also?
Yeah, same thing with Facebook.
And a YouTube channel.
And a YouTube, man. The inspiration behind the YouTube wasn't so much for the guiding. It was just to really just show people like
shared.
Yeah, it was to help people out, showing that, what I had been through, and to not give up. You know what I mean? I found what really mattered to me most, and what helped me get through that hard time. And it just kind of just flowed right into being the guide, sharing my experiences, and what you can do. Just because you get knocked down, you can still get back up and still continue life. Little different lifestyle I got going on now because of the accident, but it's still doable. You know what I mean?
True. Right on, man. And you just mentioned a tournament win. So, you have gotten involved in tournaments, which is awesome because I love them too. I just love the thrill of competition and and all that. So when was that win? That was the Hobie tournament?
Yeah, it was a Hobie Owners down in Corpus. Down Mike Morales with Fin Factory puts it on. And I had fished it twice before, and of course, just for fun, just for hang out with the buddies and give it a shot. But this last tournament, it was in an area that I had fished once or twice, and I'd went out there a month prior with my now fishing partner Albert Guzman, and we went out there and fished the area and didn't really find much. He actually broke his drive, or broke his the belt on his 360.
Yeah.
And luckily he had a motor, so he was able to hoof it back. And I stayed in that area, caught a couple fish, nothing too exciting.
Yeah.
And the day before the tournament, I went out, and of course I didn't meet up. I just saw other kayakers there. I think it was David Morset, Corey Ogle, and we're all good friends, and we said, screw it, we'll just all kind of scout together. And man, we booked it across from the boat launch all the way across the intercoastal, probably like a good 4 or 5 miles. And we said, screw it, we'll just start over there. We'll let the wind push us all the way back to the boat launch. And so we fished that area. Nobody really caught much. And I drifted back to the closest island to where the boat launch was at. And I came into this pocket and I hit one, I think it was like a 25. I was like, all right, cool. Let me move over a little bit further over, like another 40, 50 yards down. And boom, I hit a 28. And I hit that 28. And I was like, all right, that's it. I can't burn this area. The tournament's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let me throw him back, and count my blessings.
Yeah.
Right. So next morning, I think there was 60 or 70 of us in that little marina. And it was a shotgun launch. And me not having a motor, I was like, man, I gotta book it. I gotta beat everybody out there. And I don't think I've ever been that winded in my entire life on my kayak.
Wow. had that Hobie moving.
Yeah, man.
Moving powered.
Yeah, man. Felt like I was put powered, and there was only my partner beat me because he had a motor.
Yeah.
And another really good buddy of mine, Eric, he had his Torpedo. And of course, he smoked me out there.
Yeah.
But luckily, I was able to pull up to the area that I had found him in, and
nobody else was there.
No, I mean there was people here and there, and they were just kind of spread out, and man, it was the best fishing day I've had in my entire life. I don't think I'll ever have a flats redfish day any better than that day. I
had one of those this year too.
Man, I had a triple limit. I had caught 15 redfish over 25 by 7:45, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
And I was throwing back 26s, 27s. But I think the second fish I caught was a 27 3/4. And it was just like I had the hot hand. There was no other way to explain it, but it was just the best day I had in my entire life so far. And by 10 o'clock, I had the two fish. No, by 9 o'clock, I had the two fish that I wanted to turn in. But we just kept hitting them.
Yeah.
And me and my partner now, Albert, we stayed in that area the entire day. Literally the entire day from the time that we started fishing to the time that we left, which was like maybe 45 minutes before the weigh-in time.
Yeah.
We stayed there all day. And we came out first. I came out first. He came out second. And there was one fish that he caught, and I was like, this dude, and it was huge.
Yeah,
this dude's gonna beat me, and he's fishing right next to me. And I mean, either way, it was an incredible day. Having him next to me and being able to call him my partner now, it was a good day. It was one that I'll take to my grave. That if I ever do have kids, it'll be the day that I'll tell them that was my best fishing day ever. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to come out with the win. I won an Outback and some cash, and it helped jumpstart the guide service is what it really did.
Right, that's awesome, dude. Yeah,
it was just one thing led to another, and it's I've been grateful to have the success I'm having lately.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That type of day you had, it just. When you have those days, just like, man, you got to reflect on them. I had that during the KFT tournament in Kayak Fishing Texas group, their tournament in June. I had the exact same thing happen. I went to catch trout earlier. I got a decent keeper, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go launch to my redfish spot. I'm going to go find them. And I went straight out there, and, it was crazy. By, the first few casts, I think I had a 27 1/4 right off the bat. And then I ended up catching the two 27.75s to max out the two redfish.
No kidding.
Because it was a slot limit. And I probably caught, I think I had 7 or 8 more fish that were 27 1/4.
Wow.
And then over 25, I probably caught 30 redfish that morning.
Yeah.
And I was off the water at, 12:45 or so, 12:30. I was done fishing. It was just insane. I launched there about 8:30 with my second spot. So 8:45 to 12:30, it was just on, man. And it was dead calm. It was supposed to be nasty weather that day, and it ended up being really nice. And the wind was light, and the bite. I thought the bite was going to be tough, but it was just good. Gosh, they were just.
It's crazy
just
how
one of them days, man. Oh yeah, it was just insane. I like that when that happens, man. It's just
those days are, well, let's put it this way. I can have more skunk trips than I can ever tell you about. So those skunk trips really humbled me when I had those that day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it makes
Mhm.
those days taste so much sweeter. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Because I
Any
probably had
plans
more.
coming up this year
What's,
for tournament wise? You got some big plans
um,
this year? We'll see what comes up on the schedule.
Maybe it depends. My partner, he's an avid tournament guy. He likes going out there and competing, and if he eggs me on, I'll join him on if it's a team tournament or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
Y'all just had a win for the Cats event back in
yeah,
October, right?
we
Yep.
it was him, man. He had the hot hand that day. We were
Yeah.
able to split up and fish two different areas, and I went to a confident area that I thought I was gonna just slay him, and
Mhm.
I caught 22s, 23s, and luckily, he went to his confident spot and he pulled out a fourth place win for us.
Yeah, we got fourth place and then big fish too, right? Had the big fish.
He had
Yeah.
he had a pig. I
Yeah,
think it
he had like
was
an 8.9 or something,
yeah, almost a
8.90
9
or something.
pounder,
Freaking
man. Just
giant freaking
huge.
slot red, man.
Yeah, man. And it's good fishing with him, man. He's it's weird to say this, but he's like my yin and yang, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like he has a different personality, completely different from mine, and we kind of balance each other out. And it's fun fishing with him because
Yep.
he can be this real high intense guy, and I can be the real low mellow
Yep.
guy, and just
That's how
focus.
Mike Fiorenzi is to me.
Oh
I'm the
yeah,
one that's all like freaking hoppy and jumping
yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
and he's a
yeah,
little
yeah,
more low key,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
fishes dirty water in different marsh areas up north.
yeah,
And then I do that too, but I fish the flats down south.
yeah.
And that's how this year went for us. Those first few tournaments, we fished some stuff, and he said, "Man, I haven't burned spoons in forever."
Yeah.
I said, it's easy. You got it. It's all good. And
Yeah,
he adapts well too to different conditions, which is
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Being able to deal with all that,
Uh,
especially weather and different conditions that can
yeah.
have effect. But yeah, tournaments for me are just. I mean, I just love competition. It's pretty damn
And they're fun, man.
fun.
They're exciting. Yeah,
And
I
the
mean,
weigh-ins, the meet, everybody's hanging out, have a couple cold beers or drinks, and
hmm
there's some food involved normally,
yeah,
and it's all good. So
it
anything for the
definitely.
upcoming season, you looking forward to anything in particular? I know Galveston Redfish Series is coming back.
Oh yeah.
Hunter Welch has got that going, a team event.
Oh nice.
I know Saltwater Angler Pro Redfish League is supposed to have single man events,
Okay.
and hopefully Cats and Matt and all them get something together, or maybe have more than a few trails. Maybe they'll have
Those
3
are
or
fun
4 this
tournaments,
year.
man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, those are fun tournaments. It's good. Those tournaments are good, man. They're able to push yourself. It forces you to learn. It forces you to adapt.
right.
Of course, there's some big money on the line, so it takes you out of your comfort zone, and those are always good places to be. To learn a lot, even if you don't take a trophy home or take any
Yeah,
checks home. You're definitely gonna learn that either fishing or after the fact of fishing.
yeah,
Talking to everybody. So yeah, I mean, I'll jump in a few. I won. I I won the one that I wanted to win. Put it
yeah,
that way. I
yeah,
won. I took it home, and I'm always for everyone else enjoying that too. So
yeah. Because
I'll fish
it's a
them.
great feeling to be standing and be around all your peers and friends that are there,
Yeah,
and it gets down and you hear the weights and you're like, okay, I'm heavier than that, man.
yeah, yeah.
And then you hear your name first place and you're just like, oh
Oh
man, the
man.
wave of emotion uh, is unexplainable. I mean,
Mhm.
it's
I
pretty
mean,
damn cool feeling.
yeah, and I was fishing against a lot of people that I look up to. I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of people that I admire. People that I take advice from, and just to be able to stand, and fish next to them and actually, pull off a win.
yeah,
It puts all those scunt trips, in perspective. Like, hey, you kind of know what you're doing, and to have the congrats, the
yeah,
time on the water, it's finally paying off, and
for
to be
sure.
able to be that and experience that with friends and people that I consider family now,
Yeah,
it makes everything come full circle. Put it that way.
definitely does. And I can't relay enough information about that. What you just said, that time on the water. If there's
Yeah.
anything that's repetitive from any of my guests on this show, that's big time right there.
Hmm.
Time on the water does pay off.
Yeah.
Anybody can read a fishing report and read this and say, oh, well, they we're catching them right here and this and that. And then you go there tomorrow and you're like, man, I didn't catch a damn thing.
Exactly.
You got to know to adapt to the conditions.
Oh man.
And what to throw, what bait present,
Mm-hmm.
tide, wind, salunar times, all that good stuff all comes into play, and time on the water definitely helps figure all that out.
And the ability to have an open mind and
Yep.
to want to continue to learn also, you know, not being so like tunnel vision. You got to be
Yep.
able to
see the whole picture, not just that
everything.
peephole.
Like you can't just have this, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna catch this fish.
Yep.
You got to be able to go find them, you know,
Yep.
because fish have tails, man. They're gonna move,
Yeah,
and
they
they're
move
gonna
around
go
too.
wherever they want.
Damn, Skippy. Right on, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story too, and all the info out there. Everybody listening, y'all make sure to give Mike a follow on Instagram. Scrolling across the bottom right there, and if you're watching, you can see it. If you're listening,
Yep.
Third Degree Fishing is third 3RD underscore fishing underscore. I mean, third 3RD underscore degree underscore fishing.
Yeah, same
On
thing with Instagram,
Yeah,
Facebook,
Third Degree
YouTube.
Fishing. He's on Facebook. He's on YouTube. Check his channel out. If you're in the San Antonio area or nearby and want to go catch some freshwater reds, give him a holler. And see you on the water, hopefully pretty dang soon.
Yeah, man.
Get ready for a Paddle and Fin Chasing the Tide online CPR trout tournament coming up early part of next year, maybe February or March.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a little kayak winter trout showdown.
Nice.
Try to get some of the guys from Mississippi, Florida, and all that to join in. We had a pretty good turnout last year, so hopefully we'll get that ball rolling, get some prizes and stuff in. And from our show supporters, we have Trujador & Co. and Waterloo are big supporters of the show. We appreciate the support from you guys out there too, the listeners. Without y'all, we could not make this possible. We thank each and every one of you for tuning in and checking this segment out. And with that, we're going to wrap it up, and we'll catch y'all next time on Chasing the Tide.
Yes, sir.